This is John for Global Women's Sports Radio. Today I have the pleasure of being on the beat with Ashley VanBoxmeer, softball coach, Softball KC. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you. Actually, I should have said owner and instructor at Softball KC. The reason why I want to talk to you is about Softball KC, but I'd like to go back a little bit just to get a little bit of your background. I know you were an excellent softball player, but your road was a little rough. You had a bunch of injuries, I know. What made you keep going back?
My love of the game. I think injuries are a part of any sport. Most athletes are going to have to overcome an injury at some point in their career. And, it's really a make or break moment for most. I think for me, it's really what made my game even better. I was forced to sit out for 6 months, for each of my ACL tears. And you really learn a lot when you're on the other side of the fence and having to sit there and not be able to play, but still want to be engaged and be there for my teammates, taught me a lot. I learned how to keep the book. I learned how to pick signs, pick pitches, read pitchers, read defenses. It really, I didn't look at it as anything too upsetting. I mean, yeah, it was upsetting I don't get to play, but looking back on it, it was probably one of the best things that's ever happened. It really tests the kind of athlete and person that you are. And more importantly, teammate. You have the choice of going to practice every day, even though you can't really participate like the way you want to. But, it took my game to the next level, and it really kind of showed that, this is the sport I love, and nothing's going to keep me away from it.
Is that kind of when you might have had some of the first thoughts about going into coaching?
I don't know if that was it. My dad was a, professional hockey player and coach for a long time. And I kind of grew up, going to his games and watching him coach. And he's my hero. He was my role model, my mentor. And, we would talk so much after all of my games. I just love softball, and I love giving back. And I think that once I realized how much I missed it after I retired, coaching is the direction I knew I wanted to go. And I saw the impact I could make, and here I am.
Now, you mentioned your dad. I'm a little bit older, a lot older than you. I grew up watching your dad play, so it was a thrill watching him play. What do you think was like one or two of the biggest lessons he taught you about sports or life?
Nothing's easy. And, don't do anything unless you want to be the best, and put 110% into it. We came from a very competitive family. I definitely got his competitive genes. But, sports is what made me, and sports is what, I really feel, changed my life. I definitely went through a time where, my friends were out partying or, doing whatever they were doing. And I couldn't. I had to be at the ball field. And, those are things that, my dad had told me. He's like, you're going to have to make choices and sacrifices. But, ultimately, if you want to be the best, you have to want to win, and you have to want to be the best, and you have to want to be better than the person, you're playing against. And you have to be able to give whatever it takes to go above and beyond to be the best. And so for him, he really wasn't the dad that, was always screaming or was, on me after a game if I didn't play well. He was more of the, hey, tomorrow's a new day. And hey, if you're not getting the playing time and the results you want, you got to work harder. It's no one else's fault. It's on you. So that's kind of always stuck with me, especially when you're going through coaching and, working with young athletes and parents nowadays. It's, hey, you want more playing time, you want to be better, you got to put in the work. And, just because you put in the work doesn't mean that you're going to get the results right away. It's an everyday, all day, and hard work always pays off. That was his thing. He's like, hey, you're going to keep working hard, and one day it's going to pay off. And, thankfully for me, it did. And that's, I think, probably the number one thing he taught me.
So I know you started Softball KC, I believe, in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
What led you to starting your own facility as opposed to just going into coaching in the college? Right? I know you've done some coaching, but what led you to go into your own business?
I built softball KC because if I was giving lessons and I was at facilities, and honestly, there wasn't anything that was built for just females. There wasn't anything just for softball players. It was always a baseball and softball facility. And, softball kind of had gotten pushed to the side, or, that's how I viewed it. And I wanted a place where girls could come and it could be a one-stop shop. I wanted it to be all girls. I wanted it to be, you could get your training, you could do your rehab, your prehab, hitting, fielding, like anything and everything just devoted to girls. So they felt like something was theirs. And, I think feeling a part of something is huge. And, I had the right people in my corner, and they saw my vision, and they saw, me and what I wanted to do, and they fully supported it. And, I was blessed to have that opportunity. And so, we're going strong. It's amazing. I mean, it really is. I think the girls really enjoy it, and the parents enjoy it. And, it gives them a sense of their own organization, their own space where they can be themselves and work on their craft.
And it's a year-round facility?
Yep. So it's an indoor facility. They can come and go as they please. It's, I don't have anybody that works the front gate. They have their own, if you're a member, if you're a player, you get your own little code that you can punch in, and you can come in and put in your work and get your reps done, and you can check out. And then I have instructors that give one-on-one lessons there, for all aspects of the game. And they're all former, college players, all females, that just come in and they just love to give back. And, we've made a business out of it, and here we are.
Now, I think you coach in tournaments too. Is that through the school, through your academy?
So I coach with a travel ball team. So I'm with the Louisville Sluggers. They're based out of Louisville, Kentucky. I just kind of got asked to do it just when the Sluggers, most of these organizations are all expanding outside of their original home state. And it just kind of fell into my lap the first year. And then now it's built up, and we have a couple teams, and, it's a special little group. And so, yeah, I coach a 14 and under travel ball team, and they're amazing. I'm super blessed. It's a great group. It's a great group of kids, parents, and we have a lot of fun.
One of your dad's quotes I read was that you have a tremendous drive to excel. I know you're a very accomplished athlete with a very big drive to excel. Is it difficult for you if you come across a player who doesn't have that drive to excel, likes to play, but doesn't quite have that drive?
I think in the beginning, when I first had gotten into coaching in my younger years, I didn't really understand certain players and how they didn't want to be the best, how they didn't have that killer mentality or instinct that I had. But I think that was just a transitional period of me going from player to coach and switching hats. But, I think the reason why I found my success with coaching, honestly, is my ability to get players to give more than what they think they can. And, I feel like I have a pretty good eye of like, hey, you're good, but we can be great. But it's gonna, having the tough love conversations and always demanding more. I think the biggest thing that I make sure to do is to really establish the difference between a demanding coach and a demeaning coach. You don't want to verbally embarrass them. You don't want to, break them down. You want to build them up while demanding more, and you demand more by supporting them, and, pushing their limits. And once they find that success, you give them that positive reinforcement, and, you never back off. I think that, for this group I have right now, we started off rough. They weren't used to me. I wasn't used to them. Obviously coming from Southern California and now living in the Midwest, there was a much larger competitive pool of players at a younger age. So, they're now just kind of experiencing what it's like to face the big dogs all the time. And now they have a target on their back because they're one of the top teams in the area. But, I think they were a little shocked when we started winning these tournaments. And I was like, all right, here we go. You got to push harder. You got to push harder. You know, that's when they're winning and your team's winning, that's the time to ask for more because everyone's on their high horse. So it was definitely a transition at first for them, but I think now they're bought into the culture and the expectations of me and the Sluggers organization. And, you know, I think it's going to be okay, but you know, there's so many different levels of softball, right? Like there's some girls that just want to play in high school. There's some girls that are okay going to, you know, out of state. Some want to stay local. There's D1, D2, D3, NAIA, you know, all of those options are great for players. So I think that finding a home for a kid is easier than people think, but you know, you can't want it for them, right? I can't want them to be better than they want to be or they're willing to be. So you have to just kind of be able to read player personnel and still get the best out of them every practice and every chance you can.
Now you spoke about several levels of softball. You know, there used to be the National Pro Fast Pitch, which unfortunately is no longer in existence, at least for now. There is Athletes Unlimited. Are you familiar with the Athletes Unlimited softball model?
Yep.
What are your thoughts on I mean, it's a unique scoring system. It's a unique way to play with the redrafting and all that. What are your thoughts on that?
I love it. I mean, any way to give players a chance to play beyond college, I think is great. And I think it's great for the sport. You know, I think that any way that they want to do it, I'm all for, as long as, you know, it gives the athletes what they deserve. And it gives them the ability to make a living and to, you know, be reimbursed and rewarded for, you know, their commitment and their dedication to the sport and to their teams and organizations.
And you've had a great career, a college career. You played for Team Canada. What would you say is your highlight?
Oh God. I mean, looking at the players and the talent now, I mean, gosh, not very much, but, you know, I was blessed. I was at the right place at the right time, you know, in my recruiting path when I was a firecracker for Tony Rico, and, you know, he brought, you know, the colleges, and it was my job to perform. And I feel like I did. And, you know, I was able to reach my goals. Got to travel the world, you know, when I was with the Canadian team for a while. Met amazing people, got to learn from, you know, some of the best coaches in the world. So I think that was kind of it, you know, being able to say that your favorite sport got to give you a career and a living is pretty awesome. So, you know, I'll forever be grateful and forever be giving back to the sport that gave me, you know, everything I have now.
And Team Canada did pretty good in the Olympics. They won a
Bronze.
a bronze. Yeah, I always forget if it was a bronze or silver. Yeah, they won it. Obviously, you were probably following that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I was following. Obviously, I was you know, cheering for Team USA, but I knew a lot of players like Victoria Haywood, a couple others from Team Canada, all great athletes. It was just wonderful to see, especially because they opened up the Olympics. I thought that was the coolest thing.
Absolutely. You know, it's so funny just to see how different it is from when I was there. I mean, I was there when, you know, Jen Salling and Danielle Laurie were rookies and came to rookie camp. And, you know, I was like, holy cow, these girls are amazing. And for them to be able to go play in the States, you know, when I was there, I'm pretty sure I was the only one that actually was from the United States that had dual citizenship, and everybody else, you know, was from Canada, born and raised, you know, all of that. So it's exciting to see that they have, you know, now reached out and found, you know, kids with dual citizenship, or, you know, that the NCAA and colleges are bringing kids from Canada, because there's so much hidden gems and so much talent in Canada. You know, they just unfortunately don't have the opportunity that we do. And so it takes a lot more of a commitment and dedication for them to get noticed in the States. But I think Danielle and Jen and Victoria, and I mean, all of those girls in that organization and for the country have done an amazing job representing the Leaf and, you know, expanding the sport from Canada into the States and vice versa.
Hey, the more experience, the more softball, the better for me. I love being out there. College softball just started now in the area. It's still a little, I'm in Chicago. It's a little cold here, but college softball is starting this weekend. It's my first weekend I'll be going out. So the more softball, the better for me. But
Absolutely.
before I let you go, is there anything you'd like to say about softball KC? Tell people how to contact you, where they should go.
You know, I have a website, www.softballkc.com. You know, if they're ever in the area and they need a place to get some reps in, they can shoot me an email, and I'd love to help.
Well, Coach, I really appreciate your time. Before I let you go, I do want to tell you one quick story. I was covering the hockey team, the Rockford Ice Hogs, several years ago, and I found myself sitting in the press box, and I looked to my right, and there was a guy that looked kind of familiar, and he started talking hockey to me. And before too much of the conversation, it was your dad. And it was one of the coolest experiences. You know, I watched him play when I was young, and now to be sitting in a press box next to him, he could not have been any nicer. I nervously waited till after the game to ask for a picture, but I had to get a picture with him because I loved watching him play, and he couldn't have been any nicer. So if he ever watches this video, I thank him, and I just thought I'd share that with you because it was such a great experience. As was talking to you, I love talking softball with you. When I saw you online doing, you know, the softball KC, I said, I've got to talk to you about it. It's been a pleasure, and I really appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And thank you for continuing to support softball and hopefully keep the game growing.
We'll do our best. You as well. I appreciate everything you do. And you know, everybody just go out and check out women's softball. It's the best thing out there.
Absolutely.
Thank you for your time. You have a great day.
Thanks, you too. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.